Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, cool. All good stuff. I'm like, where do I start? So we did cross over 50. I don't know the exact number because I'm going through my emails now, but I know we did more than one, right? And all we needed was one. So congratulations. The bonus I will reveal tonight on the 7:30 email. I also have to update all of the accounts that participated with new balances. That may not be done today because that is a bit of a manual thing. I have to go through and now take a look. Good morning, Terry. I now have to go back and take a look at all of the accounts that were added and or the accounts that upgraded, and then go ahead into their Salesforce account and then um, update that number. So that kind of sounds like it might be like a 2-3 hour thing. And so if we could just agree that I'll have it done by the end of the week, and I will write that in the email. So I don't want anyone to be like, oh my God. Um, so yeah, just give me that time and I will have it done. And also the other cool thing with RHINO is despite all the different, despite the journey, in which case, oh man, this didn't get updated or this didn't get updated. I'm always going to be right here. So not only do we always have a paper trail, but you always have direct access. Um, so a lot of times people aren't really too concerned. Like they'll see something and then 2 months later they'll be like, oh, by the way, and I never got a chance to tell you, but can you correct from April 1st to like April 14th? And I'm like, okay, DTT. Oh, I see it. Okay, cool. It's done. And I really do believe everyone could share that. In fact, people have even told me, Ant, you know what makes it so easy is, yeah, I know you guys make errors over there because you're building it, but I never have a concern that you won't fix it. Yeah, Andrew, we totally passed it, and Andrew is one of the 50, so it's totally cool. Deborah, greetings. Deborah and I were like texting at 11 o'clock last night, and Terry and I like talk every day. So love the webinar chat so far. All right, so that's a good thing. Secondly, I'm going to be buying RHINO right now. I was going to do it before the call, but I didn't get a chance to. So we will be at an all-time high in liquidity pool and all of that stuff. So every day is a new all-time high, which is a good thing because all-time is a long time, right? So I will be updating the ledger thereafter. I will have the emails done by 11 because I still have to catch up on all my emails. Right now I'm actually, I believe, at like 7 p.m. last night. No, 10 p.m. last night. That's where I'm at right now. And we have a lot this morning. That's a lot. I went through our Salesforce account and spent some time yesterday deleting all the unengaged contacts, which were like 40,000, only because Salesforce is really, like really super duper. And they were sending us an email the last couple of days like, hey, you've been having a low open rate. And the low open rate was a direct response or direct result of us adding so many new emails into the system. So everyone knows with RHINO email, we do have a cold email system program that we put 1,000 to 2,000 new emails in every single day. The problem is, if you do that every single day, there is a certain point where that really builds up into the system where it's like, okay, the last 40,000 emails you added, only like 100 have ever even answered, which really drastically pulls down our open rate. So we have to there's so many levers, like even something like that I didn't even think twice of is something we have to worry about because we can't get under a certain threshold because we have our own server with Salesforce. They're going to look at us and be like, hey, you're not allowed to have your own server if you're just going to go ahead and destroy it, right? So we deleted 40,000 different emails. No, 30,000, which by the way, Salesforce doesn't let you do mass delete. You have to do them in bulks of 250. So for those that have gotten emailed from me last night at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, Deborah texting, I was awake that late because I'm sitting there in front of a computer, highlight all, delete, highlight all, delete. And 30,000 divided by 250 is what? I think that comes out to 120 times I pressed that button. So that's what Anthony was doing last night. Super fun. But we did clean that out, which actually is really cool because now I get to add a whole bunch of new emails. So I'm going to spend a couple hours today adding 5, 10,000. I don't know from where, but we're clean now. Why not? It's always good to do that. So it's like recycling the system. It's like having a cleanse, right? Like, do you ever drink like cayenne pepper and you're like, oh my God, my system's cleaned out. I guess I could get that burger now. Maybe that's just me. So that's that. Rhino Bot, I spoke to that team yesterday and they are on it in a very big way. I actually spoke to that team today and said, listen, I want to kind of just leave you guys alone and we'll check back in tomorrow. Because I feel pretty confident that there is I did look, there's another software that would allow us to kind of get it out really quickly. And I feel confident that if I spent an entire day with that other software, was on the phone with their department, with my AI, we would get it done. So I'm giving that team another day with very little fear that it won't get done by the end of the week. Famous last words, right? So RhinoBot's in a good place, Events is in a good place. I'm really excited to see what the new weekly plan is. We've moved it from 1102 to 1193, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have over like 520 different plans, it is a big deal. Because think about it, $1 is an extra 500 something dollars a week that goes into Rhino Bucks, which is a really good thing. So, but there are a couple more that upgraded last night and this morning. So I do believe we could probably get that over 12, and that's even better. Twitter ads, again, I said it yes, I'm not sure they're actually doing anything. And at some point, you have to just say, okay, well, let's take a look at the numbers, because if we're not really getting the bang for our buck here, then like, let's move on. And I don't know what, so also the thing with Twitter ads is there's no like direct contact. So when we go ahead and put an ad in the queue, it says pending. Okay, great, it's pending. We have ads that have been pending for like 6, 7 days. And as I take a look, I'm like, who do I speak to? Like, who can I say, hey, can you guys check into this? There's no one, there's nothing. So I'll delete the ad and then make a new ad. And now they're just by default all pending. So I can't even improve the ad that we currently have any further because they're just not letting me, which isn't exactly very fun. So I'm going to take a look at that. If nothing changed, we might put a kibosh on that, which actually is it's not a bad thing, because I've also been playing with our Twitter prompt, again, in the Zapier. And for those that know prompt engineering know that, well, actually, I guess everyone knows because we performed it here, that upon us liking any particular tweet, it then sends a tweet to them that's completely personalized for what their last tweet said. So it's almost like I'm sitting at a computer all day and just tweeting really engaging stuff to 1,000 different people, which I'm not. I'll spend like an hour and just like a bunch of stuff and let the computer do what it does, let the AI do it. That's actually performing really well. We've gotten, I think, 60 or 70 new follows in the last 2 days. We have a tweet that got 100 and something 150 likes yesterday. What was the tweet? It was good. Oh my God, I forgot what it was. Well, there's a lot of them, right? There's one this morning that got 70 likes, but that one is a little off color, so I'm not going to share it here. I kind of just wanted to write something that, I don't know, a little off color. Definitely not below Rhino standards, but I'm not going to share it right here. So go on to Rhino and find out, right? But the point being, that's totally free to us. I mean, we pay for Zapier, but that's performing at a high level. So I want to go back into that prompt because I think I can edit it further to get better results. Because right now, it seems very gimmicky, and it's come a long way. So, for instance, when we like someone's tweet, it's like, so say someone tweets, "I love ham sandwiches." Well, upon us liking it, it's like, "Hey, we love ham sandwiches too. Ham sandwiches are the best. In fact, blah blah blah. Emoji, emoji, emoji. D D D D D." And is that really the way people speak? I don't think they really speak that way. So we're constantly trying to get that to be a little bit more natural speak, a little bit more witty, a little bit more dot to dot to dot, right? And our results are good as is, but I think if we improve that further, well, then the results improve further. And what I'm noticing is the results from that campaign are far exceeding the paid campaign. So why pay for something when it's not really doing that well for us? Be that as it may, we got to take a look. So I'm going to take a look at the Twitter stuff today as well. But with that on my mind, the Rhino email thing I spoke of yesterday is still on my mind. I think it's evolving. Because I just want more paid programs. I want more money into Rhino. It's just, that's the way it is. And it's not so much that I want more money into it, I want more people in it as well. So, for instance, if these people all like ham sandwiches and these people all like bologna sandwiches, well, if I keep marketing only ham sandwiches to everyone, these people are never going to know who we are. They're never going to care. So I have to market bologna sandwiches to them. And the thing is, when you're building a platform that's based on participation and you're inviting the world, well, there's some people that like things and there's some people that like other things. So it's not, it's funny because it could be easily considered like, oh, look at Rhino. They're doing 1,000 different things. They're not really focused on any one thing. They spread themselves out too thin. Um, and again, I'm always my biggest critic. So I talk to myself at times and I would say that. But then when you look back into, when you look deeper into it, it's like, no, they're really not. They have to do that because they have to speak to such a wide audience. Um, In which case, I realized yesterday to be a good decision maker, you have to almost be psychotic. Because to be a good decision maker, you have to hear something and then parse your brain into like 10 different people that all argue with each other from different perspectives. And the person that wins that argument is the right decision. I know that sounds crazy, but that's actually what happens in my head. You have to. Because otherwise, how can you tell if something's a good decision or what to do if you don't take a look at it from 10 different point of views and each point of view has to be agnostic to the other point of view? They can't commingle. They have to be individual and completely unique to each other. They have to fight each other out. And then the one that wins, wins. So imagine every second of every day, you have 10 people in my head screaming at each other. And then one's like, hey, I got the right answer. Um, so if you want to check me into an insane asylum one day, I think that clip is probably what's going to get me in there. Be that as it may, that's happening right now with Rhino Email. We still want to do a TikTok thing that we haven't gotten to. I just haven't had the time to do it. But I do want to start organizing, not start, but I want to include that into the organization of the day. So maybe from 2:30 to 3 o'clock, it's okay, TikTok time. Everything else is done. Let me take a look at it. But maybe that is spreading ourselves too thin. Because if we're going to stick with Twitter and we're doing well there, do we really need to branch out? I don't know the answer. So again, we're looking at it. The prompt engineering last week with the children's book, from 1 to 10, 10 being it's ready to be its own offering, it's like a 4. But 4 is 4 higher than a 0, which means if we dedicate X amount of time to it to move it from a 4 to a 10, well, now we have a new offering. And the fact that we want to have a new offering, that seems like the lowest hanging fruit. So it's bothering me because I want to get to that. Because again, maybe there's people that are like, hey, I don't know who Rhino is, but I would, I'm home all day. I'm retired. I'm this, I'm that. I would love to write books. I love kids. I would do that. I don't know. They exist, right? We want those people in the fold too. Because especially if we're going to not start, but especially if we're adding thousands of new emails every day, we can't, we have to have something for everyone. Also, there is something else that's on my mind. When you're like the mission statement and the vision of what we're doing, it really is like we want to save the world. Like that, I don't think that's lost on anyone. I think people really, when they look at me, they're like, no, 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 he actually like wants to do that. Whether he succeeds or not, that's a different story. But Anthony sits in a leasing office every day wearing his own clothes. He's at this computer every single. It's not like he's riding around in a Lamborghini. Like this is what he's doing. That being said, I've said it plenty of times that I want to introduce more aggression, like more like do I need to have sock puppets? Do I have to shake you? Like wake up. Because the challenge that we have is, from at least from our point of view, our thesis is all people are good. I believe that. I really do. Like I don't think there's such a thing as a bad person. Because I believe everything that someone does, they believe is a good decision. I don't think anyone does something believing it's a bad decision. Now you could say, well, people do things they know it's wrong. Well, that's a different story. I'm saying people do things because they want to do it. right? So like if I want to go ahead and shoot someone, I know that's wrong, but to me it's a good idea. I want to do it, hence I'm going to do it, right? So when you peel that onion back, well, why did I want to do that? And that's like Pandora's box. Like that's Anthony. I don't know nature, nurture, the why. That's we're not trying to solve that. But if you at least agree that there is a box there, that what is the reason that that person did that thing, well, then you can peel that all the way back to birth and say, well, people are good, and then something happens and they start doing bad things. It's my belief and the thesis of the problems that we have today are simply like a function of brainwash. Like I think the people take like for instance, there are so many people that are defending things that are so unambiguously wrong. Like for instance, I don't think second graders should have cartoon books of same sex like tutorials. I don't think so. I don't think 10-year-olds should be able to go ahead and change their gender unbeknownst to their parent. Like there's some things that are just, I'm saying extreme stuff, right? Because I'm trying to make a point that there are things that are unambiguously wrong, but there is a large population that will defend those things. And the question is that large population defending it because they inherently believe it's right, or have they been brainwashed to believe it's right? And if you believe they've been brainwashed to believe it's right, then how can you deprogram that person for them to say, whoa, I can't believe I thought that. Now that I can see the bigger picture, like once you could see the man behind the curtain, you have that moment. And what I'm trying to get at is how do you deprogram someone? I'm not sure you could deprogram someone by saying they're brainwashed, because then that's offensive. That's confrontational. Okay. I don't think you could deprogram someone by saying they're wrong, because they're prepared for that. Yeah, I know. I'm wrong. You're wrong. We're all wrong. Everyone's wrong. Okay, I get that. I don't think you could deprogram someone by telling them they're silly, or they're an IDIOT, or they're STUPID, like again, confrontational. I don't know how to do it, but I do think it is along the lines of like grabbing them, and I don't know, right? Like I believe there has to be a requisite amount of passion, emotion into it. Um, so I don't think you could deprogram someone by saying, "Hey, yeah, like we're doing this over here, and if you want to check it out, come on, come on." Like I think at some point you just gotta be like, "Hey, I need you to come over here for a second. No, no, come over here." Whether you have to put some bait out, whether you have to put the cheese for the mouse to come and you trap them, I don't know, but I know that being totally PG is very easily able to be discarded, dismissed. Um, so that's a working, again, the 10 people in my head thing, because I really do want to get to a point that I can really be myself. And myself is like, I want to go ahead and grab people and hit them in the head and say, what is wrong with you? Like, literally, what is wrong with you? But that will never work. But to get close to that part where that natural inclination to do that mixed with the correct recipe and correct process, right? Like, I have this passion, but if I drink and fight, I'm just going to wail my arms around. But if I practice boxing, well, now I could focus it, right? Like that passion, once harnessed and directed in the correct way, then allows you to be who you are. Now you're like a ninja. Yeah, now words are violence. Yeah, so so that's the thought process, and we're getting closer to that. And it's easy to say, right? Like from my perspective, I'm I'm not unbiased, right? Like I believe that my flagellance smells like roses, like, and it's good that I operate under that because it doesn't make sense for me to operate opposite, right? Like I believe what I'm doing is right. But there is objective measures, right? When I say, hey, RHINO is at an all-time high today, it's not because I'm trying to pat myself on the back or try to constantly program you. It's to offer an objective measure, right? Like, okay, I think this, but coincidentally, we're also at an all-time high. So if you put them together, at least we're not the reason we're doing bad. And more importantly, we're probably the reason we're doing good. Can we do better? Yes. Can we do worse? Yes. So there's always that line you have to walk. All right, we're doing great. Do I want to change it and all of a sudden do bad? No. So I got to identify what we're doing that's right and then add a little bit more. And so there's a lot to it. But again, when I say things like, oh, we did cross over 50, that's to show unambiguously there are objective measures where you're resonating. Um, and what's cool is just in the panel itself. Do you know there's not a single comment in the chat that is from anyone from the same state? There's actually people from different countries. In fact, when I take a look at the names, Abdul and Andrew couldn't be more opposite of names, right? Like, and they're neither one of them are from the U.S. Like, so there's things that are going good. So anyway, let me get, not that you're holding me. 11 minutes over, and I have a 10:30 call with someone from France, right? Like that's how cool this stuff is. But that's on the agenda for today. Everything I shared, and the 7:30 email will have a cool bonus. Between you and I don't actually know what the bonus is. And that's not me laughing saying, haha, tricked you. That's me laughing at like, I know I'm gonna make, like, I won't ever lose face like that. I'm going to make a great bonus. But if it's a surprise, I didn't ever need to know it that second. I just needed to know that I'm going to do that. So no pressure, but I have to still do that. And I don't even know what it's going to be. I've been juggling that idea. Like I was actually up pretty late thinking of it. So it's going to be great, obviously. But I'm laughing because it's like, just add that to my day, right? Like just wow, you know? Now I sound like a high school girl. Okay. Anyway, I love everyone and I will see you on the other side.